Former Liverpool and Arsenal winger Jermaine Pennant says Ben White should be allowed back into the England setup. The Arsenal defender has had a self-imposed 2-year exile following a feud with senior coaching staff under Gareth Southgate. But, according to our very own Adrian Durham, who broke this story in midweek, seems as though he is ready to come back into the fold. And on the sports bar last night, Pennant said White should get a second chance.
It's a hard one because we don't know the ins and outs. We don't know what's actually gone on between him, Gareth Southgate and Gareth Southgate's team. If it's something that bad that he couldn't see himself in the same vicinity and playing under that management, then that's his decision. But now it's a new regime, new coaching staff, new ideas, and he's a great player. He's a great defender. So if he wants to come back, then I don't see why they should say no. It's up to Thomas if he feels he's capable of playing in his system, in his team. I think he could. So I think the best players we've got, we should have in our team. If we want to win the World Cup, put bygones be bygones. Let whatever gone in the past.
Regime,
it's a new regime,
fresh.
new, fresh. The best players possible, pick them.
Oh, this opens up a can of worms, this one, because I was on midweek when Adrian had broke the story the night before, and we talked about it with Gabriel Bonlahor, and the reaction from our listeners on our text was an overwhelming no to welcoming back. Some were saying no problem at all, but the majority were like, no, you've turned your back on us once, we don't want you again. I mentioned earlier on about pondering the question of, as a teammate, how would you feel if you knew someone had whatever issue it was, and let's obviously remember this is now a different England setup that he'll be coming into if he's allowed back into the fold as such. How would you feel as a teammate of his, knowing that, at times he's shown he's got issues within the camp?
Well, it's a privilege to play for your country, okay? It's the highest accolade you can get. International football's really important, and if you're lucky enough to be chosen... I mean, Jack Charlton used to say, I played under Owen Hand, okay? Played 3 games. Then I got injured.
He was your first manager.
Yeah, Owen Hand was my first one with Ireland. Played 3 games, I got injured, missed 18 months. Didn't get called up by Jack Charlton. And then he called me up one day, and I've told that story before of how it happened. But Jack's line was always, if I need you, I'll call you, okay? And I always made myself available, even when Mick McCarthy took over after Jack Jack left in 96. Mick knew he could call me. I didn't have to say, I was never retiring. I said, if you need me, I'll play. Yeah. So I was always that line of what the manager had said to me, if I need you, I'll call you. And then the same line applied to Mick. If you need me, I'll come. Okay? I looked at it like that. I really love playing for Ireland. Now, Ben White's obviously... I think it's been trickier for him because he played so well for Arsenal and found himself never really getting the opportunity of being the number 1 right back. And you could make a case, well, he wasn't the best at that particular time. The fact that he chose not to play, you're going to get fans venting their anger at you, saying no, because fans, like always, would see it. If I was asked to play for my country, I'm going, I'd walk on broken glass to get to play for England. And that's what you're up against. And so I understand the fans' point of view of why they would be angry.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, because like you say, any fan would love the opportunity to just be involved in the England setup.
Do you know what I don't get,
once,
Nat?
whatever it is. And yeah, I can see why some fans would think, no, you had your chance. And it all bottled down to, if we're believing reports, that it was a fallout between a coach and a player.
Doesn't matter, though, that.
Well,
Doesn't matter. I mean as in...
You've got to get over it.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, and look, as I say, we don't know the ins and outs of it. We don't know how personal that conversation got, and could have been a really personal argument. I don't know. But there's a part of me that thinks there's got to be a level of maturity here. And both parties, have got to come together and try and repair that if you think that you can be an asset in Ben White being a part of that squad.
Yeah, I'll give you one. What I find really odd about the modern day player is that quite a number of them seemingly don't get advised by people that are close to them, whether it's family members or whether it's their agent, to say, think about this decision. Think about...
Well, they might have done, and he's just very strong-minded. And
I remember... I've seen this with Sancho at Manchester United, where the fallout with Eric Ten Hag, and then suddenly, there's not wanting to play, not sort of, he doesn't pick me or I'm not fit enough and all this sort of silly debacle going on.
Yeah.
That's so unnecessary. You know, you can handle situations where you go, look, I'm available. If Ben White turned around and said, I made him, to put it this way, I think a lot of people would give him forgiveness on this if he just turned around and said, I made a mistake last time, I let my ego get the better of me, I want to put myself up for England, if I'm selected I'm coming. And that would be enough.
Yeah. Or even if it was, we had a falling out.
Yeah.
We're over it. We've
come
moved
clean.
on. Yeah. And to be fair, a few listeners were saying exactly that. If he explains what happened, there may be a bit more sympathy. Equally, you can listen in and might be thinking, well, why does he need to explain himself? It could be a personal thing. But it seems as though he wants another chance, if you believe what reports are suggesting. And with Thomas Tuchel taking over in the new year, that could well be the case.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.